So thank you guys again for joining and welcome to the Order Client Training Webinar for the Order Client 2.0 or the new Order Client. We're going to review with you today, give you a small little bit of history, just a quick reminder how we got to where we got to, do a little overview for you. Then we're going to switch over and actually do the Order Client training session for you. And then we're going to tell you what's next kind of after the webinar today. So really quickly, my name is Marisa Giffen. Some of you have met me before. I'm the Business Systems Manager here at Pharmasave National. I will be giving sort of the PowerPoint part of this presentation, some background and some next steps. We have also on the call today, Thomas Jankovic, who is our Business Systems Analyst and who will be doing the actual training session of the new Order Client. As well, we have Marianne Diaz and Thais Watanabe. They are also part of your Order Client support team. And we're going to talk a little bit about Order Client support towards the end of our presentation for you guys today. So getting right into it, I just want to review for a moment. You guys all have the Order Client. You guys have always had the Order Client. Over the years, there has been some requests for changes to the existing Order Client. And perhaps over the years, you guys have emailed or maybe had contacted Trish or myself, and you guys had asked for some different things to happen in the new Order Client. And you were maybe told that some of those things couldn't happen because any enhancements to the existing Order Client would have required, every time we made a change, it would have required a full redeploy of the existing Order Client to all stores. And so those existing Order Client requests were put on hold for basically since we rolled out the Order Client. Since then, we came along with paperless pre-books, and really the focus of paperless pre-books was to replace the paper books. This was developed and deployed to all stores, as you guys know, and this was never really supposed to be anything more than a paper an electronic copy of the paper books. But really it evolved into an ordering tool. And so all of a sudden we had the Order Client and we had the paperless pre-books. And while the two spoke to each other for sure and were syncing together, they were two separate ordering tools. And we started to consider, should we maybe incorporate the call for orders into paperless? When we were doing that, a couple of things came sort of into mind, and that as we talked to stores, certainly we spoke to stores at the buying show over the years, and stores expressed that they really did like some of the features of the existing Order Client. We did have the change requests we've already talked about, and we know that this was going to require a reinstall if we made any changes to this. Paperless pre-books, stores liked a lot of the features of the paperless pre-books, but some of the things that people were asking us to do and change in the paperless pre-books and to make the paperless function more like the Order Client was not supported in the web application. So that kind of left us with a dilemma. Do we update the existing Order Client with some of the functionality that people have been asking for, some of the enhancements, and then redeploy to everyone? Do we take the paperless pre-books and expand and include the call for orders, but knowing that some of the functionality that people were asking us for wasn't going to be possible anyways? Or do we kind of go outside the box and do we try to give stores the best of both of the applications that you guys currently have? And the decision was made that we would move paperless pre-books to a Windows application. This would allow us to continue to support the paperless features that everyone was liking. We could incorporate some of the features that people like in the existing Order Client, some of the functionality. We could expand the new Order Client to include the call for orders, and we can move to one ordering tool for everyone. So that is pretty much where we landed. So where are we today? If you guys have been to the buying show at all in the last couple of years, we've been showing you this. Our intent was really at this past buying show in 2020, we were prepared to show everyone the final product and start rolling out right after. So the Order Client, as you guys are guessing, is ready to go today. There are 12 stores that were part of the key user committee and a few expanded stores that have already been given access to the existing Order Client. Of course, the general rollout that we talked about to follow the buying show was put on hold due to COVID. And after a short bit, we were kind of living in the COVID world. And we started to get calls and emails from stores and regions asking us what was the status of the existing order, of the new order client. And so we decided together with the regions that perhaps stores were ready for this, and we were going to come out with a rollout plan and start rolling this out to stores. So that's really how we got to where we got to today. Some of you, that's review, and you guys are all aware of that. For others of you, I may be putting together some of the pieces and trying to answer some of the questions as to, why do we have a new order client and that sort of thing. So without spending any more time sort of on history, I want to jump into the new order client, and I want to have Thomas do his training session. And then what we'll do is we'll pause throughout his training to see if you guys have any questions. Again, if you guys have seen this at all over the last couple of years at the buying show, it's not going to look overly new or unfamiliar to you, but this is sort of the only and first time we've gone about doing a full out training session. So I'm going to pass this along to Thomas. And Thomas, we can see your screen, so you're good to go.
All right. So as Marisa said, my name is Thomas. I'm Business Systems Analyst, and we'll be doing the demo for the new order client. Just so everybody knows, any information that you do see in the order client, it is from our test environment, so it may not look exactly like what you would see in production, especially the data. Some of the events and pre-books that you see, the dates will be different just so that we can actually proceed with the demo. So what everybody will be provided, if you haven't been provided with already, since some people registered through the portal, those people would not have received the email with the training manual. But what we will be doing is providing the training manual, but also the training manual will be posted on the portal. In the training manual, it does have the installation instructions. As seen here, it just tells you where to start to get the download, which would be this website, and all you would have to do is click on the download to start downloading the application. The one thing, because it is a new application and it hasn't been fully recognized by the internet, even though it is certified, it's a trusted application, there may be some kind of warnings saying, oh, this program may harm your computer. To put everybody's mind at ease, if you do get this message, the application itself is safe, it is trusted, it just hasn't reached that whatever minimum download requirement is through the internet to be considered trusted by the internet. But we've done everything we can to make it certified and trusted. So you would just have to, whatever options are there, run anyways, find more options and just say run the program, and that will proceed with the installation of it. So once it is installed, there will be an icon on your desktop and the application itself will open. You'll always be able to see what version you are running. As new versions come out, the version number will update with those new releases. The big feature of the new order client is there is auto updates that will install automatically. As the installs come, there will be this little message that says a new version is available. Please click OK to download. You just click OK. It will install the new version, and then you'll be running that new version when it's done. So that way, if there's minor enhancements or big new features, you'll always have the latest version for that. So when you are ready to go into the application, you just use your paperless pre-book login credentials. You will no longer need to use your old order client credentials. You now have the same credentials as your paperless pre-books. And if for some reason you've misplaced these, When we email out, if you have received our emails, the credentials are on the email. When we email out the training manuals to those who signed up through the portal, we will also send you the credentials. For the demo purposes, I will be using a test login credential. So all you would have to do is enter in your username, password, and log in, and it will bring you to the startup page. There are two panels in the startup page. There's the left panel on the side here where you have your options for pre-book, CFO, and then also you have a profile section. There is the little gray bar here with the arrow. This allows you to collapse that sidebar, which will become more useful when you're actually working with the pre-books or CFOs. But this sidebar is collapsible at any time. And then in the right section is where you'll actually have all your information display. And you'll be able to see your store number when you log in up here. So if for some reason you see something that's not your store number, it just means you're logged in incorrectly. So where everybody will be directed to start is always in the My Profile. Now, just so everybody knows, these last two fields, because we're in test environment, this is just part of a new feature we're building into the application. In production, it will not be appearing on there. So first things users will need to do is just set up their profile. If you have your profile set up for paperless pre-books, these last 5 fields, so the number of rows and then these flags, will be the same as what you have set up in paperless pre-books. They are shared, so if you update them in one, they will reflect in the other. And then these top 3 fields are actually separate and specific to this application, and they're related to the integrated stores, integrated POS stores. So you would be able to identify a URL, which will help load sales history. For stores where you're able to launch an item from order client into the POS in the old order client, you're able to do the same thing in the new order client. You would just have to indicate the location of that file in the local POS path. And then for the POS download path, this is for identifying where purchase orders in the promo export files would be uploaded to, and then once they're there, they would get synced into the actual POS.
I'm just going to jump in for one moment. Thomas is going to give you a little bit of information on where to find these URLs and these paths. I just wanted to make the point that whatever integration you do or do not currently have with the existing order client is the same integration you will have with the new. So if you have all 3 of these things in your POS system, you will have all 3 going forward. If you have none of them, you will have none. If you have some of them, you will have some. So this varies by POS between fully integrated, partially integrated, and not integrated at all. So if you don't currently see your sales stats in your existing order client, you're not going to see it going forward. There's been no changes made to the integration with the individual POS. So Thomas, I'll let you give the specifics for the different POS, but yeah, it will be the same as what you have.
Right, now for the specifics for each POS, it's still a work in progress as we are rolling out to stores. But on the portal, we will keep the training manual up to date, so it will always have the latest information. For Positech stores, so Finestro Margin Plus, for the sales stats URL, this local host 9000 OC data, that one will work for 99% of the stores. It might have some stores, depending on their computer setups, it may not work. And if for some reason you have errors occurring when you are entering this information, contact order client support and somebody will be able to assist you with that. AutoStar and MapleWave, we are still waiting to confirm what the exact URL would be. That will come as more stores have installed it, and we can do some trial and errors with that. Also for the local POS path, this is for Finestra POS integration only. The link that is most common is available here. Again, depending on how it was installed on each computer, it may vary, but if there's any issues, again, you can contact order client support. And then for the POS download path, we've included the most common one. It may again vary. So if there's any issues, you can contact order client support.
Okay, so Thomas, I'm going to stop because I have a few questions here.
Mm-hmm.
So first question was, do you need to uninstall the current order client before proceeding? No, you do not. And we're going to talk about that towards the very end, but you can keep the existing order client installed as well as the new order client install. The new order client install, as Thomas showed you, has a 2.0 as the label, so you should be able to distinguish them. As far as integration, there's a question about what about integration with Positech? So again, Finestra is fully integrated. So Finestra, you will fill out all three of these fields. You're integrated fully today. You'll be integrated fully tomorrow when you do this. Margin Plus is partially integrated. So same thing, whatever integration you have today, you will have going forward. So someone else has another question regarding the URLs. So the URLs will not be automatically populated for you. This is why Thomas has directed you guys to the training manual pages. So as much as we know that people don't reference the training manuals a lot, you will need to this time. You will need to go to the training manual on the portal and go to the initial pages and go to the section that says sales stats URL and copy the sales stats URL that is in there for your POS provider and or the directions that Thomas has listed there for all three of these fields. If you are an AutoStar store, you just need to contact the order client support desk directly. If you are a MapleWave store, an MMS MapleWave store right now, you will not have integration right up at the moment. There is some upgrades that need to be done between MapleWave and ourselves in order to get that working. So right now, Finestra is fully integrated, Margin Plus is partially integrated, and AutoStar is partially integrated. The rest of the POS do not have integration. I think that answers your question. But again, you have to fill this out yourselves. We're direct. If you guys have trouble or questions or whatnot, please contact the order client support email address. Positech is aware of this information, but really there's no change on the Positech end. So if you do need help, we're hoping that stores will contact the order client support. Go ahead, Thomas. Thanks.
All right. So once the settings have all been set up, just need to click apply, and then you are ready to begin using the application. So we will start with showing the pre-books. So what a user would do is click on the pre-books, and the default view will always show the active available bookings. If you wanted to see either only the historical or both active and historical, there's the all option. You would just click on the applicable option that you want to view, but you're also able to do a search for a full wording or just partial wording, and it'll display the actual results of your search. On the actual grids, and you'll see this throughout the different sections, all the grids have customizability. So you can actually hide columns if you didn't want to see certain columns or add columns back in. You can move columns around. So you can change the location of where a column appears. You can also sort a column. So if you wanted to sort by a specific field, just click on the header and it will sort it. You're also able to filter. So there's a lot of customizability with all the grids. And then also with the pre-books themselves, same as the paperless pre-books, you are able to set a budget for individual bookings. So as you can see for this example, for the 2012 pre-book, I set a budget of $10,000. From previous demos, I've already added some orders, and then there's a remaining balance. You are able to view any information that may have been uploaded by the national office for the specific booking. So you would just click on the download arrow and it would open up the applicable file for you to view. Once you have found the booking that you want to work with, you would just click on the select view button, which will bring you to a variety of slice and dice filter options for the actual information. We will go through these in further detail later on, but for the beginning part of the demo, majority of stores may be using the manufacturer view, where it will list all the actual manufacturers which have items available for that specific booking.
Sorry, and I just wanted to say, for majority of stores, you guys have already been using paperless pre-books. So a lot of this is what you already know. Some stores, though, are new to this, because if they weren't participating in pre-books, they would not have ever seen this. So we are going through it for everyone. As well, there's some new things that we want to point out for you as well. So if you're familiar with paperless, not a whole lot of changes, but some. And if you're not familiar with paperless, this is sort of starting from the beginning for you.
Okay, so now that we've gone into the 20 fall pre-book booking, as you can see, there are all the different manufacturers listed, and you can scroll up and down. Again, you can customize the actual grid to appear how you want it. You are able to add or remove columns. So if there's a specific column you didn't want to see, or columns you did want to see, you can always add and remove. And then again, this one does have the ability to set a budget for each individual manufacturer. And then at the bottom, it would show you the balance remaining against the budget as you do orders. Any kind of sell sheet information will be available as well. So the sell sheet is something that's already currently available in the paperless pre-books. These sell sheets replace the manual books. So everything that was in paperless pre-books is now in this new order client. Any manufacturer information is available here as well. I believe this information was split into multiple tabs. Now it's just on 2 tabs, where it has the manufacturer information and then just the applicable ship dates. So once you have identified the manufacturer you want to look at, actually before I get to that, you do have your old reports. So all the reports from order client, the old order client, are also available in here. And then there's also some new reports, which is just a different view of the existing reports, where you can actually generate it specifically by the ship date or by a specific manufacturer. So you have those options there.
So I just want to stop there for 1 second. That report, to be able to print your recap by ship date, was probably one of the most frequent common requests we had from the existing old order client, was to be able to print your order recap by ship date. So that's what that report is about. Right now, we've left it sort of on its own as a new report. One of the coming features will be to actually just include that in the existing reports. We're keeping it separate for now so we can point it out to everyone, but you will eventually find that wrapped up in just the regular report tab. But probably number one request we had from the old order client was to have an order recap by ship date.
Okay. And then you are able to add notes or even make a sticky note. The sticky notes would carry forward for each manufacturer throughout all the bookings, where a note would be just for the specific booking. You would make a note for that manufacturer. You're able to export your purchase orders. So again, if you're in an integrated store, exporting the purchase order, it would go to the specific folder that's identified in your profile and then synchronized into the POS. So once you have found your manufacturer that you want to take a look at, you would just click on the appropriate button and it would load up the screen with the items and all the information related to it. Now, depending on your computer's screen resolution, so the size of monitor, laptop versus a physical PC with a big monitor, you may be able to fit more information onto a screen on a larger resolution than on a lower resolution. So this is where, if you're on a lower resolution computer, the sidebar, collapsing it, will actually provide more information, kind of spread out a little bit more so it's easier to view. So with the different sections, in paperless pre-books and even the old order client, you're limited to how much information was available on one screen. In paperless pre-books, you'd be able to find some information on multiple screens. You'd have to click multiple times just to get to the information you wanted. In the new order client, everything's available on the one screen. So up top, there is summary. So if this specific manufacturer had the option of both wholesale and direct, you would be able to switch between wholesale and direct if you meet the minimum for direct. But for the manufacturer I selected, it's only wholesale. You do have the option to view the vendor proposal report for the vendor. Again, there is the customization for the grid. So since I'm viewing everything right now through the manufacturer view, I know which manufacturer I'm looking at. So at this time, the manufacturer field does not make sense. But later on, when we go through some of the filter options, the slice and dice filters, since the results will show across the entire booking, which would include all manufacturers, that's when this manufacturer name field may become useful so that it's easy to identify which manufacturer each item belongs to. You're able to, again, move these columns around. So if you wanted to have them in different positions, you can do that. You can sort and filter just as you could on the other grids. And then for integrated stores, for an item, if there is sales history, you'd be able to click on the POS stats and view the sales history for that item. And again, if your previous order client had the ability to open the items in the POS application, you'd be able to do that again in here by clicking on the View and POS button. In the top left section, this is just basic information for the item itself. You have cost information related to the selected item. If you're integrated, your POS information, so if you have, it'll let you know if you have any items on hand or on order, the last promo is included on, and then any kind of flyer specific information, so sale, retail, coupon information, whether it's on the back page. This information was not available previously, but now it has been made available. If there are any headers specific to an item, in the old order client, headers would always appear at the top of a group of items. But because you're able to actually sort the information differently, you would, if we kept that functionality, that header would lose all meaning. So now any item that is applicable to a header, so any kind of header information, will appear for each item, regardless of how the information is sorted. If there's any pre-book notes for the booking, they will appear in here. If there are any additional notes, they would appear down below. And if the item is part of a planogram or multiple planograms, they would all be available down in the bottom right here. there is the ability to search for UPCs or partial UPCs or a description of an item. You can also look up specific line numbers. So as you can see, everything has a specific line number. Or if you want to only view what you've already ordered, so if you want to review what you've selected for ordering, you can sort by or just show the ordered results. For every item, there's an item total, but then there's also a overall total for that manufacturer, which will be updated as you add new orders. So if I were to add a new order for that one item, there will become a item total. And then we'll also see the order total get updated as well. So there we go. And lastly, within the booking item list, you see this column called PPK. It is just the pre-packs. If you see a black outline box with the plus sign, it means it is a pre-pack item. If it's gray, it's just an individual item. The one thing with the pre-packs, when you have the plus sign, click on that and it will expand and show all applicable items available within that pre-pack. In paperless pre-books, you would have to click on the pre-pack, it would take you to a new page, and then to order it, you have to go back to the previous page. Here, it's just all on one screen, just to make it easier. For this specific pre-pack, there's only one item available, but if there are multiple items and you're on lower resolution, there will be a little scroll bar, and you can scroll one item at a time. On high resolution computers, it will actually show more items within the view. So there are benefits to having high resolution computers, but if you don't have that, it's not the end of the world. You just have to scroll a little bit more. So that is the general overview of this page. Marisa, was there information you want to add?
Yes, thanks. So a couple things, just re-mentioning, highlighting a few things. So one of the big wins, I think, and some of the feedback that we had from paperless that stores didn't like as much was how there was multiple tabs. You had to go to a pre-pack tab, you had to go to a planogram tab, that sort of thing. So and that was one of the things that we couldn't change in the version of paperless that we had. And so we talked about making this into a different type of application. So you can see here that you have the planogram information is all contained within this one page. You can see that the pre-pack information expands onto the same one page. So that was a big change in based on the feedback that we received from stores. The other thing was the flyer information at the very top there. That doesn't exist anywhere. That is not in your existing order client. It is not in paperless. That is completely new. So as we were moving things over and combining applications and going through, this was one of the things that we said, you know what, why wouldn't we? We had some real estate at the top of the page here. So we've brought in this information here so that you're not having to look at your highlights report to see what things are on sale and what prices they are at and that kind of thing. So those are a couple of the big wins. And I think the one, so although it's contained with one page as well, is the pre-pack expanding. That was one of the big pieces of feedback that we had from the paperless pre-books that stores preferred in the old order client, is the ability to see the pre-pack contents right on the page and not have to go to a separate page. Two questions that I wanted to quickly look at. Good questions. The first one is, are the views customizable by user? No, they are not. You will see that when you set a view, when you kind of customize a view, say in the manufacturer screen, when you go to any of the other views, that same customization will carry on throughout. So not customizable by user. Because there's actually only one user. When you log in, there's only one user. So there's not a cosmetics and a front store user. So that is the answer to that one. And will it show all flyers coming up if there are multiple? Yes, if you're in a pre-book, this will be the same information that you would have on your highlights report. So if this item is in 3 flyers, Up in that top box, you will see the flyers listed, the spots, the retails, essays, and PRs related to each flyer for however many flyers there are. When you're in the CFO screen, the information that you have in the CFO screen is related only to that call for order, but in the pre-book view, you get to see all of the flyers that are coming up. I think that was it, Thomas. Thank you.
Okay. So when you are done with ordering from that manufacturer, you can just go back and you'll see that the estimated total has been updated. And if there's any difference in the balance, it will be updated as well. And then if you are done with it, you are able to just check it off and say you're done. And then if you're done with the booking itself, you can proceed with the export of the purchase order. So the last piece for the pre-books would be some demonstration of the different filter options. So as mentioned before, we do have all these various filter options, which will help slice and dice the information based on the different titles.
So we're not going to spend a ton of time. We're not going to go through every single one of these views. Of course, I'll give you a really quick highlight recap of all of these. If you have used paperless, you should be familiar with these. If you've not used, these are brand new to you. There is one new view for everyone though. But generally you have the category view. This is really about if you want to approach the pre-book, if you have a cosmetics buyer and you want to approach the pre-book from a category perspective, you can do that by just using this view. Once you go in and let's say you choose cosmetics or OTC or whatever it is, it will look at all items across the entire pre-book, all manufacturers that fall under the department that you've chosen. Once you get there, you will get to that exact same screen and exact same functionality we already showed you in the manufacturer view, but this allows you to approach it from sort of just specific departments if that's what you want to do. Available in pre-books, not new to some people. The next view that we have is the pre-pack view, same type of idea. We've had stores tell us in the past that the first thing they want to do when they do a pre-book is make sure that they have had a look at all of the pre-packs and book those first. So when you click on this view, it will isolate all the pre-packs across the entire pre-book, all manufacturers, everything, and then you can go through and just book your pre-packs first if you wish. Planogram view is exactly what it sounds like. If you want to book items that are contained within a specific planogram, you can do that. All the different sizes of planograms, not just the large ones, are all included here. So if you want to book against a planogram, you can do it using this planogram view. Besides the planogram view, I think the next one we have, so I'll skip the flyer view for just 1 second and go to best deals. Best deals is exactly what it sounds like. We had some buyers tell us, some stores tell us that they want to go to a pre-book and they want to book the best deals first. Of course, no one could tell us what they thought was the best deal that matched somebody else's best deal. So there's a slider in here. You can select what you think is your best deal. And then you can find all items in the pre-book across all manufacturers. For example, Thomas picked 25 to 100% here. Anything that's 25% savings or better, and book against those items first. Another view we have is by notation. So if you have added a flag to something as you're going along, at the top of your screen there, you saw the little icons for the little flags. Just like in paperless pre-books, if you want to add a little icon to one of the items, perhaps it says, you select the icon that says review with my cosmetics manager. Perhaps, in the days of a buying show, if you're wanting to flag something to review with a vendor at the buying show, you can add that flag to the item. Then when you come here, you just pick on the flag or notation that you want, and then you pick the manufacturers you want, and you can just filter and see just the items, for example, that you wanted to review with your cosmetics manager or at the buying show or whatever you wanted to do. So promos by event type and the other flyer and promotions view. The flyer and promotions view is the same one that you have in paperless pre-books, but I like the new one that we came up with better. This is a new view where you can actually go in and start. The very first thing you select is your event type. So for example, if you are an FM store, this allows you to drill into the pre-book and find all items that are contained just in your FM flyers. If you're an F store, sure, you can go through and pick that as well. That applies to every type of event. But basically, when you go through here, you can zero in on advertised items. You can further drill into specific front and back page if that's something you want to do. And you can further drill into just pictured items if you want to do that. So we had some stores tell us that they have very little budget. They really can't, order $10,000 worth of things in a pre-book. They really need to make sure that they're covered off on their flyer items. So this helps our stores do that in an efficient and quick way, just to zero in on your advertised items. Ship dates. So this is stores, if you want to have a look at, if you do have the option to print your order recap by ship date, but also this might come in handy for receivers. If you want to print your orders and you look at items by ship dates, you can do that here. Same type of deal. You go in, you put in the ship date, and you can have a look at the items across the whole pre-book by ship date. And the other thing here is note items. So this is for they actually typed in a separate note. And if you want to bring together all of the items across a pre-book where you have typed a note in for, you click into this view and you can isolate all the items that you typed a note into, and then you can print that. This came to our attention when early on with paperless pre-books, when we had stores tell us that they were using the paper books to write notes to people in, whether it's the receiver, the merchandisers, or whoever. And without the paper books, they lost this ability to communicate to their staff what they wanted done with certain items. And so this allows you to go to those note items and print them out and give them to your receiver or whoever. If you don't want to print them out, your receiver or whoever, if they have access to this, they could just go to the pre-book, go to the note items, and just have a look at them on the screen. But this supports the ability to communicate with other people in the store. I think that was all of the views, right, Thomas, on this one? So yep. Lots of review if you've done these in paperless. My thing is this, a lot of stores have told us that they still continue to book against the manufacturer review, perhaps, but what they're using these views for is to double check stuff. So for example, if you want to go through your pre-book like you do today and go through the manufacturer view, you certainly can. But we have stores that are telling us that, hey, after they're done, they're going through and checking the best deals and seeing, hey, is there any great deal that I missed? They're going through and they're checking pre-packs. Is there any pre-packs that I missed? They're checking their promos by event type. And they're saying, hey, did I catch everything that was on promo? Did I miss anything? And they're isolating stuff that way. So lots of great views, either to order against from the beginning or to use as a double check after the fact. I have a couple questions here, and then we'll go on to CFOs. So any chance of updates having the ability to have separate users for the same store? Not at this time. We'll take that note back. But really, this all ends up, when you log in, you put in your username, your password, that all links into your regions, your McKesson IDs, and all that kind of stuff. So not any time is there really, I guess, a thought to have multiple users, but we will take down your comment. Thank you, Cindy. As mentioned in the promos by event type about product photo, query is in general, we can see the photo of the items listed in the pre-books. Yes, so when you're in the pre-book, you won't see individual product. There's no individual product photos. There's not in the order client. There's not in paperless pre-books. We actually don't have individual product photos. What you will see is the sell sheets from the manufacturer. So when you're back at the manufacturer listing, if there is a sell sheet, just like there is today, you'll click on this, you'll download this, and it will bring up the sell sheet so you can see the items. And as you can see here in Thomas's screen, it has opened up a small little screen. You can continue your booking, and you can keep your sell sheet open on a separate document that you can have a look at. Okay.
That's all the questions? Okay.
And I think that's it for pre-books, right?
Yes, that's it for pre-books. So now we'll just take a quick look at CFO. A lot of the functionality is either identical or very similar to pre-books. CFOs is smaller, so that's why we do it second, because everything else, for the most part, is just comparable to pre-books. So I clicked on CFO, and again, the default view is always showing the active active call for orders only. But if you want to take a look at older ones or all of them, you can do that as well. Or you can look for a specific event or events. So the one difference from pre-books is you don't have the ability to set a budget. This was not available previously, and it's not available now. But the one thing that has been added, which will appear in the next release, is a countdown for events. So this way, it's just easier to see how many days are left for the event before it expires. This is one of the new features that's just been added in the test environment, but will be viewable in production soon. Again, the fields are customizable. So if you wanted to hide any specific fields, you can always take them out. Or if you wanted to add fields in, you can do that as well. So there is the different information available for each event. When you have found the event you want to take a look at, you just click on the select view. Again, it will bring you to the filter options. The filters are a lot less than pre-books just because the events themselves don't require as much slicing and dicing. They are more straightforward than the bookings. But you do have similar options such as the best deals. You can look specific flyer by position in the flyer or the planogram views. But again, most common view will be the manufacturer view. So here you have the manufacturer information. You do have a link to the portal. This will open up your portal and take you directly to any information pertaining to the event that's selected. So if there is anything or any updates that need to be seen, they'll be available on the portal. The reports are the same as the reports that were in the old order client. You're able to export the promo event flyer and your purchase orders as well. And when you're ready to take a look at a specific manufacturer, just click on the order button. And again, it will bring you to the item list view. Similar to pre-books, except there are a few less options. So you have your reports again. You are able to customize the grid view again. You can sort whichever which way you want. So you can, if you want to see the highest saving percentage at the top, just sort it that way. If you want to see your sales history again for that item, if you're integrated, you can do that. Or if you have the functionality to view the item in your POS before, you can do that as well. So again, you have your item specific information in the top left, cost related information, your POS information if integrated. A new feature is this coupon and redemption. So if an item has any coupon or redemption information, it will appear here. You are able to search by the UPC or description of an item. You can filter just by items that you have ordered within the manufacturer. You do get your order total, and it is updated as you add items to your quantities. Any product notes would appear in the bottom left, and again, any planogram information would appear in the bottom right. And that is your call for order. very similar to pre-books, just some different information, but very identical in the usability.
So the one thing I wanted to point out here is in the top right hand of this screen is the F3, F4 functionality. That was one of the things that stores told us that they do like, some stores like it, I guess, in the existing order client. And that is the ability to use the F3 and F4 buttons to go to the previous and next items. Kind of a left-hand, right-hand thing. I think some stores are using the F3, F4 to move between products and using their other hand to enter quantities. So that functionality is available in the new order client as well.
Okay. And then when you're done with the ordering, you just click on back. If you're done with the event itself, you can export your purchase order. And then a couple weeks before the event is to begin, you can export your promo. And that is call for orders.
Okay, so I'm going to really quickly get back control from Thomas, and we'll flip back over to wrapping this up for everybody. Just a couple of seconds here. Thomas, you're able to see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So just, I guess, wrapping this up following the training session. So what's next? So the regional offices, we're actually working with the regional offices to help coordinate the rollout of the new order client. For most, we got your information from your regional office, the West and the East office. They've provided us with your information, and we have emailed out to you an email that contained how to access the training, how to download and access the new order client, and your credentials for the new order client. Some of you, though, which was actually great, you guys saw a posting on the portal, and you guys thought that this would be something exciting and fun that you guys wanted to attend. So you guys are here today because you guys have just joined through the portal, and that's good. That's great. Right now, I'm gonna give you two options, I think, and that is if you saw this today and you want to get going on it, and you didn't get that original email for us, we have the order client support email. I'm going to show you in 1 second if you don't already know it. You guys can reach out to us through there, or you can reach out to your ops coordinator and talk to them about it and get on the rollout list through your regional offices. Again, or you can contact us at Order Client Support and we'll send you that email that the rest of the group got. So what's next? You have completed the store training. There are live webinars. There's more of them coming. If you want to watch this again for some unknown reason, you liked it so much you wanted to watch it again, but more realistically, if you have people in your store that you think should watch this on the portal, there are links to all of the upcoming webinars. We have one more webinar next week, and then we're having webinars every 2 weeks. So if you want someone else in your store to watch this, just go to the portal, go ahead and register them for one of the upcoming webinars. This webinar is also being recorded, so we are also going to post the recording of this webinar on the portal. So if anybody in your store wants to watch it and just wants to watch it on their own time, there will be after today a recorded webinar on the portal that you guys can refer people to. Going forward, order client support. So there is our email, hasn't changed, same as it always was. So order client support at bc.pharmasave.ca. If you're going through the install process and you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact that email. If you didn't get that original email and you want your credentials and whatnot, go ahead and email that email box. I mentioned at the very beginning of this, some of you have my email directly. Some of you can, call me or Thomas or whatnot directly. I assure you that if you go through order client support directly, you're going to get faster response time because there are 4 people that monitor that mailbox. And that is really the best route for you to go, is to go through that order client support mailbox. So what's next? Beyond that, Thomas has already told you this order client is equipped with an auto updater. So there's a couple things that Thomas had on his screen today. When you go into the order client later today, maybe tomorrow, a couple of things won't be there. But you will get auto updates. So big hindrance in the old order client was that we could not do updates very effectively or efficiently. We can with this one. And as Thomas said, you can expect to see new versions of this software from time to time. Certainly if there's some sort of defect somebody finds, we do have little minor improvements here and there. And if we get feedback from you guys for something, you will see new versions of this coming. You'll see the little message that comes up that says there's a new version. Do you want to update? Yes, it is okay to do that. Please do that. Actually, you won't be able to run it if you don't do that. And one of the last things, second to last thing, is reporting. So we have reports available for the regional offices. And that helps us to help them understand where the stores are ordering from. So right now, and we can talk about this together, order client is still out there. You do not have to uninstall the old order client. You can use it in conjunction with the new order client. You can use paperless. For the time being, all 3 of the applications are talking to each other. So if you start going into the new order client and maybe you're not used to it, maybe it's taking you a little longer and you want to flip back to the old order client, you certainly can. And we'll get a report that says that you did that. We'll know that you ordered, X number of vendors through paperless and X number through order client and so many through new order client. We will be decommissioning the old order client. So what's going to happen one day, and I can't say when just yet, you're going to go to the old order client link and it's just not going to work. We're not going to do that and surprise everybody. When we're ready to do that, we'll work with the regions on that, and that will be dependent on everyone being transitioned over and people ordering from the new order client, hence the reports to be able to track this. I can tell you we're aiming for no later than sometime later in 2021 to decommission the old order client. So you'll want to start transitioning over to the order client 2.0 as soon as you can. Understanding that, you're probably, if you're not using it, you're potentially going to start getting a call from your territory manager, ops coordinator saying, hey, you're supposed to be on the new order client and you're not. Is there, do you need any help? Have you got any questions? Paperless, what is paperless pre-books for then? Realistically, you can continue to use paperless pre-books. It is missing some of the great features that we have on the new order client. But for example, if you still want to use and do ordering on something that is a non-Windows device, like an Apple iPad, you can still use paperless. You cannot run the new order client on a non-Windows hardware. If some of you recall, perhaps you guys may have asked over the last few years when it came to buying shows and whatnot, you guys may have said to us, hey, we're going to get a device. What should we get? Should we get an iPad? And for the last couple of years, we have absolutely been telling people that we recommend you buying a Windows-based device. And this is why. If you have a Windows-based device and you go to a buying show or whatnot in the future, you will be able to run the new order client at the buying show. If you don't have a Windows-based device, you're going to have your Apple iPad, whatever you got there, Samsung, you will be able to keep using that. Again, it doesn't have full-on functionality like the Order Client 2.0 does. I have one question here. Are we able to use both platforms, old and new? Yes, you can for a little bit. So your cosmetics manager, someone's commenting here that their cosmetics manager will not change. Your cosmetics manager will change at some point because the existing order client will not be there at some point. So yeah, they'll need to transition basically. So that is all that I have. What I'm going to do right now is I am going to unmute everyone. You might be self-muted. But I have just unmuted everyone. And so if you guys, we're going to hang around. Certainly, if you have any questions, continue to type. I will answer your questions, or go ahead and ask them. We'll answer those as well, or any feedback. If anyone has any feedback on what you think of the order client that you guys just saw. You might be self-muted. If you are, you just have to go to your the icon beside your name that looks like a microphone and unmute yourself. I have one piece of feedback that says looks great. Thank you. Okay, so we will hang on for another few more minutes should anyone want to ask or type questions in. If not, everyone else is free to go. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to join us today. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to email that order client support email. Thank you guys. Have a great day. We're going to stay online though and answer questions. I see a couple more coming in. If you guys want to hang in there, you guys can listen to the answers. Otherwise, you're free to go. I have a question. Do I have to export the purchase order in order to send the order? No. So for anything that's ordered through the order client like it is today, call for orders and pre-books. The orders are consolidated here at the national office. And we send the orders off to McKesson for you. The export of the purchase order, if you are an integrated store, allows you to download the purchase order into your POS so that you can see what you have on order and that sort of thing. If you're not integrated, you won't be able to export the purchase order, but no need to export the purchase order for these events in order to place your orders. We consolidate them here. Thanks for all the efforts. You guys are very welcome. Thank you guys for joining us. Hope you guys love the new order client. Another comment, great webinar, easy to follow. Thank you. You are welcome. Tell all your friends about it. Good job, Thomas.
Thank you.
I do not see any further questions. So I will, I see one more. Order client 2.0 is more handy to use. Yep, so thank you. Okay. I am not seeing any other questions. We're a couple minutes over time, so we're going to say thank you guys all, and we'll let you guys go. Thank you guys all for joining us, and email us up with any questions. Thank you.